We are speaking today about Jantar Mantar. According to me, Jantar Mantar are not only astronomical objects, but they contain lot of mathematics. So, in the sense, they are constructed mathematical sculptures or objects, because each sculpture in Jantar Mantar, each installation in Jantar Mantar, without mathematics is not at all constructed. There is a specific angle, specific inclination, and specific purpose for the shape. So the entire Jantar Mantar is constructed to know and also to measure accurately the phenomena or the placement of astronomical objects in the sky. So what all the things are in the sky we observe daily: the sun, the moon, the stars, etc. So there is a movement for all these three. The sun also moves, that is daily motion, and also moon's motion is also there. Over a period of 1 month we can see it move, and also there is yearly motion or a monthly motion also for the stars as well as constellations. So let us try to understand the terms of this we use in astronomy regarding these kind of motion of stars, sun, moon, etc. So I am utilizing this book, and I start with this book. This is a pop-up book on Jantar Mantar. It is published by Jawaharlal Nehru Planetarium in Bangalore. So in the first page itself, we have this kind of a contraption. It just pops up like this. So here there is a blue circle, a platform, and also you see this circle here, a semicircle with a moving this one contraption here, and there is a pointer here which is yellow. Now let us try to understand what it is. This blue circle here, so it is the horizon. Horizon means the place when you just stand and look around, you see a giant circle on the ground, not the sky. Sky appears to be a sphere or a hemisphere. So giant circle you see, this is that. So a man will be centered here. So let us say two friends are here. So from this point, when these two people see all around, this is the kind of horizon. So horizon is the one which is this particular line where the sky and also earth meet in a giant circle like this. And only in the horizon we can see the sun rise from east and also set in the west. Let us understand this pop-up. So here is a blue circle, and also there is one semicircle here, and also there is a pointer here, and there are various months here, and also there are various graduations here. So we see this as a horizon. Horizon means when a person stands here, let us say these are the two friends who are standing here. So when what they see, the earth and also the sky merging together into a giant circle, that is the horizon. And in this horizon, this particular circle defines that horizon from this point into a giant circle. So the sun and also moon, they rise from this point, the east, and then it goes up. So this is the east point, it goes up, comes to the noon, and also sets in the west. So this is the east point, this is this midpoint in the sky. We call it as zenith, and also this is the west point. So this shows the movement of the sun. This pointer shows the movement of the sun. Here you will see a graduation of where various months are there. So let us say this is the December month. So in the December month, so if you want to move this circle here, so this is the pointer, sun rises at this point, so it moves, comes to the zenith, and then goes to the west. So let us say what happens here in the month of June. So in the June what happens, so sun begins its journey here at the east, then it moves, comes to the meridian, then sets. One thing you have to observe, in December this pointer is away, from these two people and that, and in June it is away, on this side. That means to say, the sun, though, it moves, daily, from east to west, it also moves from this end to this end. So this is called as, Dakshinayana from the south, and this is called as, Uttarayana. So the sun also moves, in 1 year from the east part of the horizon to the west part of the horizon. That's one thing. Next, sun also moves over a period of a year from the south part of the horizon to the north part of the horizon. So there should always be, midpoint, in these two. In the midpoint, what happens? Exactly at the east point, sun rises. Exactly above, these people's heads, it comes. Exactly, on the west point, it just goes down. So this is called as, the equinoxes day. That also means to say there are only 2 days, in a year like that. March 21st and September 22nd. Those are equinoxes. In the equinoxes, what happens is that the night and the day both are equal. But this is different from the December. In December, what happens? This is the small circle, which this pointer, describes. So in December, the day, will be very short and night will be, the longer. So here, what happens in the June? So it is a very big circle compared to the December. It is a very big circle. So naturally, the day will be longer and night will be shorter. As the sun moves, from the December, from southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere, there is a midpoint, here. That is March 21st and also September 22nd. So on those particular days, the night and day will be equal. Exactly at the east point, the sun rises. Then, it comes over here at the zenith, and then, the sun sets, exactly at the west point. Then these are the points of equinoxes. Equinoxes means equal day and night. So from that equal day and night, let us say, from the south, the sun is moving. He comes at the equinox. Then, it goes on, to the June. So the circle gets, bigger and bigger. So we are having, maximum sunlight in month of June. So when it reverse happens, when the sun moves, from the north or the Uttarayana to Dakshinayana, again it comes over here on September 22nd, again moves to the December, and December the circle will be shorter. So these are the points we have to understand. So the 5 or 6 things what technical terms are. This is the circle of horizon, and this is the meridian, and this point is the zenith, and the sun, daily motion of the sun is from east to west, and as yearly motion of the sun is from this southern hemisphere or southern portion of the meridian to the center to the north, again from the north to the center and to the south. These are the points we have to understand. So in the Jantar Mantar, what happens is the measurement of the altitude of the sun. Altitude of the sun means, so this is the zero altitude of the sun on the equinoxes. When it goes to the south, it is a negative altitude. When it comes to the north, it is a positive altitude. So the altitude of the sun is the required measurement. Only then you will know. So when Dakshinayana starts or Uttarayana starts, etc. All the Jantar Mantar is devised for this specific purpose. That is first purpose. The second purpose is, let us say there is a star here at this particular point. So for the person here, how he will designate that star? So what he has to do is, this is the north, this is the south. So he turns to the north because north is identified with the pole star. So from the pole star, how far it is this, how many degrees he has to turn. So that is called as azimuth or digamsha. So from that point, how up he has to go, that is the altitude. So this is the azimuth, this is the altitude. So even this kind of a measurement is also made in Jantar Mantar. This is the model of Samrat Yantra which I have made in foam board. The Samrat Yantra is the most famous yantra of the Jantar Mantar because it is very tall and it looks beautiful. In fact, in Jaipur and as well as in Delhi, these sides of the Samrat Yantra are colored red and also the contrast of the white and the red appears to be very beautiful. And also it is one of the most photographed monuments in India. So this Samrat Yantra is actually a giant sundial. Sundial contains one gnomon. Gnomon means a kind of a pointer like this, and when the sun moves the shadow, it tells you the time. Here the same kind of a thing is there, but the shadow is from these kind of a walls, this wall as well as this wall. So the shadow of this wall from let us say this is the east and this is the west. So when the sun moves from the east to west like this, the shadow of this wall falls here and shows you the local time. And when the sun moves to the west, the shadow of this wall falls over here and tells you the local time. The same Samrat Yantra is used for a different purpose also. For example, to note the altitude of the sun. What do we mean by the altitude of the sun? So let us say the sun is here. So when the sun is here, when it comes from the east to the point to the midpoint at the meridian. So at meridian from the point of the zenith, whether he is to the south or to the north, how much degree he is towards the south, how many degrees he is towards the north can also be noted here. Now I will try to explain how the measurements are being taken. To take the measurements here at the Samrat Yantra, we require at most 5 to 6 people. One man will be here and he will be holding a danda like this, a stick. From this stick, 2 strings go to this man, and also one to here and one here. So imagine now the sun from the east he comes to the meridian. So from the meridian, at which kind of altitude the sun is, so what he will do is, this man here at the bottom, so he will be holding a rope to this end, another person will be holding the rope at that end. So when the sun exactly comes over here, so he will shout to move up or down. So this man has to move this rod up or down. So through that kind of the string, he will look at the sun's disk, one edge of the sun's disk. So this fellow also will shout whether to move up or down. Exactly at that point, so these people take the reading. So there is another person here to note down the reading. Then the sun disk moves to this way. So when it moves this way, this other edge of the sun, that is also the readings are taken down by moving this rod up or down like this, and this man has to move. Similar thing happens on this side. So let us say the disk of the sun, one edge crosses at this point. So through these ropes of the person holding it here as well as this here, they will take the readings here. So here you can see the kind of readings, and when the sun just moves, so the readings of this rope hand dangling from here, he will also hold it and he will also hold it. They will just shout that whether the alignment is correct or not, then he will take the reading here. So that is being noted by somebody else. So to take the time, so these 4 people themselves are here, but when the sun moves from this end to this end, the shadow will not be perfect. So for that, what they do is, once this shadow falls over here, let us say this shadow is falling over here, it will not be defined shadow. There will be the diffraction makes the shadow to disperse. So at that time, what they do is, they just hold a stick across like this, so that there will be a kind of a plus mark here, the shadow is exactly defined. So that's how the readings are noted on this scale. This is called as Nadi Valaya Yantra. Usually these Nadi Valaya Yantras you find in the Jantar Mantar complex in front of the Samrat Yantra. So this Nadi Valaya Yantra contains two discs like this. So two discs and with two gnomons. So usually it will be, let us say this is the north and this is the south. So it is aligned exactly north-south, and this is the east and this is the west. So let us say that the sun moves from this point to this point and comes over here on the meridian. So when the sun comes on the meridian in the Dakshinayana, when he is south towards the south, only the southern disk gets illuminated and this gnomon casts a shadow over here and tells you the local time. So when the sun is in the Uttarayana, the northern side of the disk gets illuminated and this gnomon tells you the local time. But when the sun is at the center, both the disks on March 21st and September 22nd, both the disks get illuminated and they show the time. So it doesn't happen the next day. So our people, or the Jantar Mantar people, wanted to know exactly when the Dakshinayana and Uttarayana starts. So on that particular day only, or to be exact, 2 days in a year or in the equinoxes, both discs get illuminated. This is the purpose of Nadi Valaya Yantra. This instrument in Jantar Mantar is called as Dakshinottara Bhitti. Bhitti means wall, Dakshinottara means north-south. And as such it is exactly aligned to the north-south. So the purpose of this instrument is to find the altitude of the sun. The sun, let us say, this is the east and this is the west. Let us say the sun moves over here, comes to the meridian. At the point of the meridian, this gnomon casts the shadow. When the shadow is cast, let us say the sun is in the south, in the Dakshinayana, the shadow will be cast here. And when the sun is in the Uttarayana, the shadow will be cast here. On 2 days in a year, the shadow is straight down. So the measurement is taken on these arcs here and also here by the persons standing over here. So it was very important. In fact, Dakshinottara Bhitti is the first instrument in the complex to be constructed. Only after constructing this instrument, the other instruments are constructed and get on added one after the other. So Dakshinottara Bhitti, the north-south instrument or north-south wall, is very important for this complex. This is one of the important constructions in Jantar Mantar called Digamsha Yantra. It contains the outer circle as well as an inner circle and also a gnomon. So this measures the Digamsha or the azimuth as well as Unnatamsha, the altitude of the star. So in fact in the Ramayantra also you find the same kind of a construction, and Ramayantra is also used as a Digamsha Yantra. Now let us see how Digamsha Yantra functions. So for that we have to understand what is meant by azimuth as well as altitude, or Digamsha, that is azimuth, Unnatamsha, that is altitude. So for any kind of a star to measure, let us say the star at this point. So for this star, the azimuth means this is the north-south, this is the east-west. From the north, how much you have to move to identify that star. From here, and this is the horizon, this is up you have to go. Please see, if the star is at this point, from the north, which is a fixed point, that Dhruva Nakshatra, you have to move like this, that is azimuth, that is Digamsha. From here up you have to go. That is altitude, that is Unnatamsha. This particular instrument, Digamsha Yantra, is used for such kind of a coordinates, that is Digamsha as well as Unnatamsha, that is azimuth as well as altitude. So this is north-south, this is east-west, strings are attached like this, and this is the central gnomon. Let us say a star is here. So one man walks over here with the rope and also attached to this person. So this person, so let us say he is looking at the star over here. Along the rope he will just see the star, and he just shouts to him, and he places that string over here. So this from the north to this particular point shows the azimuth. Again this person moves to the center, and then he just takes the rope up till this person shouts and also reads the altitude over here. So it is the azimuth as well as the altitude is measured by the two persons like this here. This is another model of Jantar Mantar called a Rama Yantra. This is there only in two places, one at Jaipur, a smaller one, and the larger one at Delhi. Rama Yantra is nothing to do with Lord Rama. In fact, Ram Singh was grandfather of Jai Singh, and so it has been named in his name as Rama Yantra. So this Rama Yantra is very complex. There are exactly two structures, one complementing the other. Please note I have used that word complementary. That means to say, so here when you see the inside of the Rama Yantra, let us say this is A and this is B. When you see this A, there are various crevices here, and also at the bottom you will see a kind of platforms. In between people can just walk. When these platforms are there here, and also the recordings and the readings are also marked upon it, exactly in this set B, you will get that kind of a markings in the other places. That means to say, when there is a platform here, there is no platform in this. When there is a platform in A, exactly corresponding to that, there is no platform. There is a ditch in which people can just walk. And this particular instrument was used to measure the digamsha of any object. For example, not only the sun and the moon, you can also measure the digamsha and also the altitude or the unnatamsha of even the stars. Let us see how it functions. Rama Yantra consists of a big gnomon, and also here various platforms. In between people can walk like this. Look at this man walking here, and there are graduates here as well as graduates on the walls throughout, and people can walk over here. One string is attached to this, as well as this man holds that string, and through this string and he looks at the celestial object and notes down the reading here. So if it is the altitude of the object has to be measured on the walls, the person also can stand here on the walls, as well as with this help of this string he can measure the altitude or the other measurements like azimuth of the celestial object. Please come over here and see, when there is a ditch here there is a platform. This is called as complementary. When there is a platform here at this place, there is a ditch here. So this is done because let us say there is a moon, altitude has to be measured. If the shadow falls over the ditch here, not here on the platform, so you have to move to this, so that here on the platform they can just have the measurement. So these two instruments are complementary to each other.